up to this now, up to this, the various layers, and then up to this, the gastric juice and their properties, okay, and the functions of the gastric juice. Up to this clear? Anyone have any queries, any questions? Up to this? So far we have studied, but I can remember from the last class that we have studied that after the mouth we are having what, the pharynx and then the esophagus. Okay, we came to know in detail about the structure, okay, and some anatomy, and then what are the size and length and the functions, okay. Then the movement, okay, of the food bolus along the esophagus, okay. Uh, get this image again. Somebody still join. Okay, and then this one, okay, then we finally entered into stomach. So we basically discuss on the various parts of the stomach, okay, starting from the cardiac region, fundus, body or corpus, and then the pulmonary region. Okay, we came to know that there are sphincter are there present in between the esophagus and the stomach, that is the cardiac sphincter, and at the lower end we are having in another sphincter also called as the pylori sphincter. Okay, and this sphincter allows for the movement of the food in and out of the stomach. Okay, and they basically ensures the food to stay inside the stomach for a particular time so that the digestion become possible, right? Okay. So then we came to know that the body, it basically covers the 75 to 80% of the whole stomach, the total volume. Okay, and it is basically you can say responsible for holding the fluids. Okay. Then we discussed about the wall of the stomach. So we came to know that there are basically four layers from the outside to inner side. Okay, these are serosa, then there are one subserosa is there, but that is also coming under the serosa. Then there is muscularis layer, okay, and then there is the submucosa and the mucosa. Okay, we came to know that the mucosa basically contains the glands of the stomach. Okay, and the glands basically include the peptic glands. Those are responsible for the secretion of the various kinds of the digestive enzymes. Plus, oxyntic glands are there. Okay, oxyntic cell are responsible for what? Secretion or production of ACL, and there are goblet cells for mucus. Okay, for the secretion of the mucus. Okay, then we have studied the composition, okay, and the functions of the gastric juice. Okay, so in functions we basically study the functions are basically the digestive functions. Okay, digestive function. Along with the digestive function, it also secretes various kinds of the factors. You can say intrinsic factors. So intrinsic factors are responsible for what? For absorption of the vitamins and for the protection of the structure of the vitamin within the internal environment of the stomach. Right? Okay. So these are about the other functions. Okay. So I would have discussed up to this gastric lipase or yes, up to this the functions of the gastric present in the gastric. Let's start from the functions. Are you having any problem in it? Any problem in it? Hello? Hello? Just inform me any problem or not. If there's no problem, then I'll just go.
No problem,
Hello?
sir.
Where is problem? No problem.
No problem, sir.
Okay. Okay. So the come to the functions of the gastric juice. So the basic function is the digestive function. Okay, as we know, the basic function is the digestive function. So it basically contains various kinds of the enzyme. Peptic juice, what you are getting here is the peptic juice. Okay, or gastric juice, you can say. So daily about 1,200 to 1,500 ml of the gastric juice is secreted inside the stomach. Okay, and the pH is you can say it's a very acidic kind of solution. The pH is about 0.9 to 1. Okay, and this acidity is because of the presence of the hydrochloric acid. Strong HCl is there, so because of the presence of this HCl, and yeah, the pH is 0.9 to 1.2. It is so strong that if you just allow an undigested food, okay, undigested piece of meat inside the stomach, then it will also get digested because the strength of the acid is like that. Okay, even people can say an egg can also be digested by the stomach acid. If you just put an egg without of iron, then it also can be digested. Okay. So digestive function is the basic function, and the digestion is possible because of the presence of the various kinds of the enzymes like protein digestive enzymes are there, proteolytic enzymes. Okay, let me make it in this mode. Okay, it's not coming. Yeah. So look here. So it basically contains the proteolytic enzymes. Proteolytic enzymes like in the gastric juice are pepsin and the renin. So these two proteolytic enzymes are there. These two proteolytic enzyme cleaves the protein. So protein are basically present in what you are taking, meat, fish, eggs. So they basically contains a huge amount of the protein. Plus there are soybeans, etc. if you take, as well as milk products also. Milk products also contain protein. Plus pulses, various kinds of pulses. Okay, also contains protein. So if you take these kinds of the food, then you need the pepsin for the digestion, pepsin and renin, etc. Okay. Now this gastric juice also contains some other enzymes like gastric lipase. So lipase is an enzyme which is responsible for the digestion of fat. Okay. So fat, you know, in your food source the fat are basically the oil. Okay. And then the ghee, butters. Okay. Peanut butters, etc. If you take. Okay. And then meat, fish, etc. They also contain a little amount of fat in it. Okay, but the principal source of the fats are basically the oil. Okay, cooking oil we usually know while cooking. Then the ghee, butter, etc. is to take. Plus milk also contains lots of lipid. Okay, so for the digestion of the lipid, the gastric juice basically contains the lipase. Okay, and then there are gelatinase, urease, and the gastric amide. So gelatinase, this enzyme is basically responsible for the digestion of the gelatin. Okay, gelatinase is responsible for the digestion of the gelatin. Then urease are there. Okay, urease for the digestion of the urea. Okay, and the gastric amylase is for responsible for the digestion of the myelopectin, etc. You can say. Okay, or like carbohydrate for the digestion of the carbohydrate. The important is the lipase, gastric amylase. Okay. Somebody joining maybe. Wait. I have to check. Happy hour. Hello, Devajit. Hello, Devajitya. Devajitya. हेलो अभी बात नहीं करेंगे डांटूंगा नहीं मैं देवादित्य आर यू हियरिंग मी ठीक से सुन रहा है लेकिन कुछ बोलेगा नहीं ओके so there are gastric lipase, gelatinase, urease, and the gastric amylase, etc. Okay, are you getting? Again, that have to check. Okay, so pepsin is there. So you know the most of the enzyme secreted from the stomach are basically present in inactive form. Inactive form. তোমরা পড়েছো if people have studied like inactive enzyme or proenzyme तुम लोगों ने पढ़ा है proenzyme like pepsinogen is the proenzyme for pepsin. Okay, then the trypsinogen is the proenzyme for trypsin. Okay, so most of the enzyme present in the gastric juice are basically in the inactive form. So the pepsin is secreted as inactive pepsinogen. These then converted into active pepsin by hydrochloric acid. Okay, HCl is there in the gastric juice, and this HCl basically converts the pepsinogen into pepsin. Okay, now optimum pH for the activation of the pepsinogen is below 6. Okay, so for that reason, For that reason, acid should be there. If there is no acid, then the pH will be more. Okay. So in this condition, the pepsinogen will not get activated into pepsin. Okay. Now the pepsin converts protein into proteases, peptones, polypeptides. Okay. So pepsin basically converting to proteases, peptones in the polypeptide. These are the three different proteins. Okay. Protein structure. They convert after digestion. Now pepsin also causes curdling of milk. Okay. So milk basically this enzyme basically converts means the milk into curd. Okay, that separates the casein protein plus the another form of the proteins are there basically in the milk, that is the whey. So two different variety of proteins. One protein is the casein protein and another one is the whey protein. So whey is in the protein. Whey protein is the form of the protein that is basically you can say soluble protein. The soluble protein in the milk is called as the whey, but precipitate protein is called as the casein. Okay, so this enzyme basically helps in the development of the casein in the milk. Okay, so now come to the lipase. Okay. So gastric lipase, what is it? It is a lipolytic enzyme. It's fat digestive enzyme. This enzyme helps in the digestion of fat. Okay, fat or fatty substances, oily substances within the stomach. When compared to pancreatic lipase, okay, it is active only when the pH is between 4 and 5. Okay, okay, so it also needs acidic environment. pH 4 and 5 means it is below 7 means acidic. 7 is the neutral, above 7 is the basic. Okay, and becomes inactive at a pH below 2.5. Gastric lipase is a tributylase and the hydrolase is tributylene. Okay, butterfat into fatty acids and the glycerols. Okay, are you having any problem in it? I think we don't have any problem. Okay, now moving to the next. So now come to the other enzymes. So other enzymes basically include the gelatinase, okay, responsible for the digestion of the collagen fibers, gelatin, etc. Urea is for urea digestion, and the gastric amylase is for the carbohydrate. Okay, starch. It degrades basically starch, but this action is insignificant. Okay, insignificant action. There is no significant action in it, but the acid basically helps in the hydrolysis. Okay, the gastric acid helps in hydrolysis. Then come to the renin. So it again curdles milk. Okay, present in animals only. Okay. Now hematopoietic function. I think we have discussed all this in the last class. Okay. So the gastric juice basically contains what? Intrinsic factor of Kessel. Okay, so these intrinsic factor is a protein you can say is secreted from the parietal cell. Parietal cell is the same cell which produces acids. Okay, so parietal cell present in the gastric mucosa is secretes both intrinsic factor of the Kessel as well as the ACL. Now this intrinsic factor of the Kessel, it binds to the vitamin B12 and you can say prevents its degradation. Okay? Prevents its degradation and helps in the absorption of the vitamin B12, which is called as the intrinsic factor. Okay, from the GI. And you know, this vitamin B12 is important for what? Erythropoiesis means development of the RBC. Okay, so by secreting the intrinsic factor, okay, which is helpful in absorption of the vitamin B12, it is making what the availability of the vitamin B12 in the body. Thus, it is indirectly helping in erythropoiesis. Okay, as vitamin B12 is important for erythropoiesis. Okay, now come to the protective function. Okay, so mucus of the gastric juice protect the stomach wall from irritation of mechanical injury by virtue of its high viscosity. Prevent the digestive action of the pepsin on the wall of the stomach, particularly gastric mucosa. Okay, so this is the protective function. Okay, protective function means this basically helps in means prevents the self digestion. Okay, helps in preventing the self digestion of the stomach. Then functions of the ACL present in the gastric juice. Okay, right? It is, yeah. So hydrochloric acid is present in the gastric juice. It activates the pepsinogen into pepsin. Already we have studied that the pepsinogen is the proenzyme and it needs acid for its activation into pepsin. Okay, so the ACL is important for the activation of the enzyme, and then it also kills bacteria entering the stomach. Okay, acid, you know, if it comes in contact with the bacteria, then it will directly kill the bacteria. Okay, so it helps in preventing food toxicity, okay, etc. Like various kinds of pathogenic infections also can prevent. Okay, because what we know, in most of the time there are chances that the food may be contaminated and you may get various kinds of the foodborne diseases, etc. Okay, okay. So and provides acid medium which is necessary for the action of the hormones, and these acids are basically also important for action of various kinds of hormones. So what are the hormones? Basically they are gastrin, cholecystokinin. These are the hormones basically, okay, present within the stomach. And these hormones are responsible, or you can say are helpful in regulation of gastric secretion or gastric function. Okay, when it is required to secrete gastric juice. Say if people have taken food, okay, so you need that enzyme, etc., etc. Okay, when you are not taking food, then you don't need all this gastric juice, etc. Okay, so there must be regulation. There must be a regulation. There must be a regulatory system which will regulate the secretion of the gastric juice from the stomach. Okay, so there are basically various kinds of the hormones like gastrin, cholecystokinin, etc. That basically you can say manages the regulatory system. Okay, or regulates the secretion of acids or gastric juice from the stomach. Okay, so this is about the various phases of the secretion of the gastric juice. Okay, so so you can divide the phases into, means the whole process into three phases. Okay, look here, three phases. One is the cephalic phase, another one is the gastric phase, another one is the third one is the intestinal phase. Okay, so secretion of the gastric juice is a continuous process. It's a continuous process. Continuously there is secretion. The rate varies. Okay, sometimes the secretion is less, sometimes it is more. Okay, when you are taking food, then obviously there must be more secretion than the normal time. Okay, because you are taking food means food is there in the stomach, so you have to digest. So for digestion, you need what? Gastric juice, enzyme, etc. Okay, so at that time there will be more secretion, but normally when your stomach is empty, that time the secretion will be less. Okay, so secretion of the gastric juice is a continuous process. You can say it is a what? It is a continuous process. Okay, depending upon the time and the stimulus, the gastric secretion occurs in three different phases. Okay, cephalic phase is the first one. So in this phase, what the secretion occurs through taste or smell of food. Okay, say somebody is cooking and you are getting the smell of that. You are viewing the food. Okay, you are watching that the foods are there ready to serve in the table. Okay, so at that time the signal will go through your eye, through your nose, means nasal. Okay, like through smell and through, or means the viewing of the food, and sometimes taste also. Okay, so these stimulates the secretion of acid. This is called the cephalic phase. Okay, so cephalic means brain. Okay, nervous system. Okay, so when you are uh, getting the smell, then your brain getting stimulated. When you are viewing the food, then your eye getting stimulated, and finally it is sending information into the brain, and that is causing the secretion of the juice from the stomach. So this is the cephalic phase. Okay, then come to the gastric phase. Now here you are taking food directly. Food is in your mouth. Okay, so the secretion occurs when the food enters into the stomach. Okay, so in this phase the secretion is due to the presence of the food into the stomach. And then the third one is the intestinal phase. So this phase starts when the food enters into small intestine. It called, here the food is called as chyme. Why it is chyme? Chyme means acidic food. Okay, remember one thing, you are taking food, You are digesting food, the food is converting into bolus and then entering into the stomach. Now inside the stomach there is acid. Okay, so food is getting mixed with the acid. Okay, acid. So that acidic food or acid mixed food is basically called as chyme. Okay, acid mixed food is called as chyme. So from the stomach, chyme is entering into the intestinal phase, means intestine. Chyme is entering into from the gastric or stomach entering into the intestine. So that is why you can say it is intestinal phase. Okay. So three phases are there. Now, how these three phases get regulated? Okay. So remember three phase. One is the cephalic. So cephalic phase is basically because of the nervous action. So conditioned reflex is there. Sight means either you are watching, you are getting smell of the food, okay, or somebody is talking about the food. You are hungry, and then somebody is talking about various kinds of foods, items, etc. Okay, so this is one the conditioned reflex, and another one is unconditioned, is the presence of food in the mouth, or say some amount of food is in your mouth. Then these the presence of either sight, smell, or means the presence of food in your mouth, they basically stimulate the vagus nerve. Okay, vagus nerve. And when there is stimulation of the vagus nerve, then vagus nerve from the brain, it sends some signal to the stomach and cause the secretion of the gastric juice. So this is the cephalic phase. Okay, then come to the gastric phase. So in the gastric phase, now you are chewing in the cephalic phase. You are chewing the food. You are means food is in your mouth. Now it will form the bolus and it will enter into the stomach. So when the food is in the stomach, means the food bolus in the stomach, then again it will stimulate the vagus nerve. Plus there are secretion of the local hormones. When food is in the stomach, then the presence of food in the stomach stimulates the gastric glands for the secretion of gastrin. Gastrin is a hormone. Okay. Now this vagus stimulation and the secretion of the gastrin from the stomach also stimulates the gastric glands for the secretion of the gastric juice. So this is the second phase. Okay. Then come to the third phase. So in third phase is the gastric emptying phase, or you can say the intestinal phase. So in this phase, food from the stomach will enter into the intestine. When the food reaches into intestine, then the intestinal gland secretes gastrin. Okay, gastrin has stimulated reaction. It causes secretion of gastric juice from the gastric glands. Okay, but after some time, what happens? The same food in the intestine stimulates the production of the secretin, then cholecystokinin, somatostatin, GIP, and the VIP. Okay, so these substances are basically inhibitory in nature. Inhibitory means they will inhibit the secretion. Okay, so these basically you can say increases the secretion upper row arrow. Okay, and these hormones basically you can say reduces or decreases the secretion. Decreases means the arrow नीचे की ओर है, ठीक है ना? This is means the increase and this means decrease. Okay, so these are the phases of the gastric secretion. Are you getting it? Any problem? Any problem?
No, sir, we are getting it.
Okay. So this three phase and the regulation is over. Okay, this is important. I'm telling you this is important. The question may come in the final examination also. Okay. So this is important. But I'm telling important, just mark it immediately. In last few class, I mentioned that the blood clotting mechanism is important, and today's class I'm mentioning that this is important. So there are chances that this thing will come. You should mark. Okay. Now, so our stomach is over. Stomach is over. Okay. We have discussed the structure of the stomach, the secretion, gastric juice secretion from the stomach, and then the function of the stomach and what are the various phases of the gastric secretion. Okay. Now we are going to enter into pancreas. Okay, pancreas. Okay, so can you remember what is pancreas? Just go into the first structure at the beginning. Okay, we are having this. So this is the pancreas. We are getting one organ. This is the pancreas. Okay, this is the pancreas. So this pancreas basically secretes. It's the mixed gland, mixed kind of gland. It contains both endocrine and exocrine part. The endocrine part is responsible for the secretion of hormone, and the exocrine part is responsible for the secretion of various kinds of digestive enzymes. Okay, so digestive enzyme basically contained into a juice, and that is called as the pancreatic juice. Okay, so pancreatic juice from the exocrine pancreas basically contains various kinds of the digestive enzymes, and it helps in the digestion of the food. Okay, so you can say it is a digestive organ. Okay, so we are going to study this pancreas. Okay, then there are livers also. After the pancreas, we will study liver. Okay, we will study liver, and look here, there is an organ. Okay, there is a pouch-like structure. This is called as gallbladder. Okay, so we'll study the gallbladder and the liver together. Okay, after pancreas, we'll study liver and the gallbladder. Just see how much possible, how much time permits us. Okay. 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 So now come to pancreas. Okay. So look here, it is written. It is a dual organ. Okay, having two functions. Dual organ. Why dual organ? Already mentioned that it contains both exocrine and the endocrine function. Okay. So what is endocrine function? Means hormone secretion. Okay. So this pancreas, it can secrete both hormone as well as it can secrete enzymes also. Okay, so as it is secrete hormone, so it is called as that function is called as the endocrine function. But when it secretes enzyme, then it is called as the exocrine function. Okay, so endocrine function is concerned with the production of the hormone, and the exocrine function is concerned with the secretion of the digestive juice called pancreatic juice. Okay, okay. So pancreas basically contains two parts. One is endocrine part, another one is exocrine part, and the exocrine part produces the digestive juice, also called as the pancreatic juice. Okay, now come to the composition of this juice. This is important. Composition of the pancreatic juice is important. Okay. So in the pancreatic juice, it will get about 99.5% water, okay, and about 0.5% solids are there. Okay, so this is 100%. Is tough to write like this. I'm not habituated in like writing with mouse, etc. Okay, so this is 100% of the juice, and out of that 100%, you will get 99.5% of water and 0.5% of solid. Okay, then this this solid water is done. Water is 99.5% is done. In solid is about how much percent? 0.5%. In solid, you will get both organic solid and the inorganic solid. Okay, organic solid. So organic means obviously carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen. These are present. Okay, means organic. If some structure is composed of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, etc., then you will say yes, these are the organic substance. Okay, and in organic substance you basically get metals, minerals. Okay, like look here, in inorganic substance there are all this. Okay, sodium, calcium, potassium, magnesium, bicarbonate, like this. Okay, chloride, phosphate, sulfate. So these are the inorganic substances. Okay, so you are getting organic substances and the inorganic substances both in only 0.5% of the solid. Now these organic substances contains enzymes. So there are enzymes and there are other organic substances. Okay, organic substance you can again divide into two: enzymes and the other organic substances. Now the enzymes you divide into two, not two, three types are there, but two types are prominent. Okay, what are the three types? Some are proteolytic enzymes. Proteolytic means protein digestive enzymes. Lipolytic enzyme means lipid digestive enzymes, and the amylolytic means carbohydrate digestive enzymes. Okay, so there are number of enzymes you can see here. Okay, like proteolytic enzymes are trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidases, nuclease, elastase, collagenase, okay? And in lipolytic enzymes, you can get pancreatic lipase, cholesterol ester hydrolase, phospholipase A and B, polypase, and the bile salt activated lipase. So these are the prominent type of the proteolytic as well as the lipolytic enzymes. Plus there are amylolytic enzymes also called as the pancreatic amylase. Okay, what are the other organic substances? The other organic substances include the albumin and the globulin. These are the protein. Okay, simple protein you can say present in the secretion. So this is about the composition of the pancreatic juice secreted from pancreas. Which part of the pancreas? Exocrine part of the pancreas. Okay, okay. So this is about the secretion. Now move to the next slide. So we'll just directly going into the function. So we came to know this is the pancreatic juice. So what is the principal function of the pancreatic juice? Obviously the function of the pancreatic juice will be digestion. Okay, and there are associated other functions. So move to the functions. So pancreatic juice plays important role in the digestion of the protein and the lipids. Okay, protein and lipid. Why? Because say, see here, the most of the enzymes are proteolytic and the lipolytic, and there is only one amylolytic enzyme. Okay, so because of this, their functions are basically what? The digestion of the protein and the lipid. Okay, so come to the digestion of the protein. So for the digestion of the protein, they basically contain various protein digestive enzymes like trypsin is there, chymotrypsin is there. Okay, other proteolytic enzymes are like carboxypeptidase, nuclease, elastase, and the collagenase. Okay, now here you are getting some notes on it. Okay, trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, very simple to understand. Nothing, no need to explain. Okay, you just have to read once and it will be clear. Okay, so you should study it from here. Okay, there's nothing, just a note, a piece of note you have to study, and you will get it. This enzyme will clip something, then the chymotrypsin will clip something, carboxypeptidase will clip something, and they ultimately will produce amino acids. Okay, now there are elastase and the collagenase. Okay, means for different enzymes there are different substrate. Okay, then come to the digestion of the lipids. So for the digestion of the lipid, the pancreatic juice contains various lipolytic enzymes like pancreatic lipase. One enzyme is pancreatic lipase. Then there are cholesterol ester hydrolase. Okay, then the phospholipase A, phospholipase B, colipase, and the bile salt activated lipase. Okay, so these are the principal you can say lipolytic or lipid digestive enzymes present in the pancreatic juice. Okay, again there are functions mentioned, pancreatic lipase, and here there is some in gist formation there are something. Okay, so these are the means the lipid digestion functions of the pancreatic juice. Then there are digestion of the carbohydrates. So you know the pancreatic juice basically contains a single amylolytic enzyme, that is the pancreatic amylase, and it converts starch into dextrin and maltose. Okay, dextrin and maltose. So you know basically how they work. They basically enzyme basically converts large piece of substrate into smaller piece. Okay, carbohydrates. So say here the starch is the bigger molecule. Okay, this pancreatic amylase converts starch into dextrin and the maltose. Now the dextrin and the maltose are smaller form of carbohydrate molecule. Starch is the bigger molecule, dextrin and the maltose are smaller molecule. Okay, then some enzyme will act on the dextrin and the maltose. Okay, like maltase is the enzyme which works on the maltose and it will convert maltose into glucose. Okay, the ultimate form is glucose. Okay, so all this digestion occurs in a step by step. Say a protein is there, and protein is containing up to like 300 400 amino acid is there. Okay, so at first the pepsin will work in it, and it will cleave the 500 amino acid long protein into small structure like 20 amino acids, and then it's called as for peptides. Then peptidase works in it, okay, and will convert it into like dipeptide, tripeptide, means 2 3 amino acids, okay, and then finally they will convert into a single amino acid. So like this, step by step, this digestive works completed. Okay, now come to this gallbladder. Okay, I think see how much possible. We should study that structure first. Okay, so look here, liver and the gallbladder we are going to study together. Okay, again back to that first image that will give us the systemic view. Okay, here, so this what you are getting, this is the liver. Look, two duct are coming, and it is ultimately connecting into a pouch. Okay, so this is the gallbladder, and they finally entering into where? Look here, this is entering into the small intestine. Okay, so this liver basically produces a juice, or you can say it secretes something. The secretion is then deposited into this gallbladder, and finally the secretion from the gallbladder enters into the small intestine and helps in the digestion of the food over there. Okay, so this is the means how the location means that you can say the systemic view. Okay, and the position of the liver and the gallbladder in the digestive system. Okay, now move to that. Okay, now we are going to study the liver and the gallbladder. Okay, so here you also can see, look, this is the liver. Okay, it basically contains two parts. Okay, so this is the liver. Okay, these are the two duct called as hepatic duct. Okay, two duct. These two ducts basically came out from the liver. Two halves of the liver. There is left halves and the right halves. Two part is there. So from these two parts, two hepatic duct came out. Okay, they ultimately form the common hepatic duct and then enters into this is the gallbladder. Okay, so the stomach basically produces bile. Okay, bile. The bile is carried out through this hepatic duct and enter into this gallbladder. Okay, so gallbladder basically contains bile. Okay, it then came out, okay, and enter into the small intestine. This is the small intestine. Okay, small intestine. Okay, and then the common tube is called as the ampulla of Vater. Okay, it is the tube. Okay, this ampulla of Vater contains the tubing from the gallbladder as well as from the pancreas also. Okay, so this tube plus the tube from the pancreas, okay, they connect together and then enter into the small intestine as ampulla of Vater, carrying the secretion from both the gallbladder as well as from the pancreas. Okay, okay, so just move here. So this is, look here again, this is our liver. Okay, from the two halves you will get two this duct you are getting, then they form a common duct. Here is your gallbladder, and then this is the common duct. Okay, so through this duct the bile flows. Okay, and it is entering into the small intestine. Here is your stomach. Okay, here is your stomach, and below the stomach from here your intestine started, and the upper part of the intestine is called as the duodenum. This part is the duodenum. Okay, so from the duodenum it is entering the means the bile is entering into the duodenum. Bile then acts into the food. Bile is basically helpful in the digestion of the fat. Okay, for the digestion of the fat it is helpful. Then it digests the food and then ultimately it passes. Okay, basal excretion is there is 0.2 to 0.6 gram per day. Okay, so this is the systemic view. Okay, now we need to study how the liver looks like, how the internal structure looks like, and where in the liver this bile produces. Okay, are you getting? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we need
Yes,
to.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So now we have to study that where in the liver this bile actually produces. Okay, so if you just make a cross section, have you seen the sectional view of liver? Have you seen in microscope, under microscope? Have you studied in the high school? Have you studied? No, no, no. Okay. So just if you cut a section, okay, section cutting you know. Section cutting means internal structure you have to study. So if you have to study the internal structure, then you have to cut the liver into very thin pieces. Okay, and then that thin piece, if you keep it under the microscope, then you can visualize the inner structure, how the inner structure look like. Okay, so this is the inner structure. If you just cut a piece of the liver, then you will get that the whole liver is made up of these like structures. Okay, so these are called as lobules, hepatic lobules. Okay, hepatic lobules. Okay, so these are like what you are getting a these are thread like structure. Okay, just like a wheel. Okay, just like a wheel, and this is the center of the wheel and these are the spokes. Okay, हमारे साइकिल का होता है ना पहिया, उसके जैसा है ना पूरा, ये वाला सेंटर है, एक्सेल है, एंड दीज आर द स्पोक्स, उसके जैसा लग रहा है पूरा दिखने में. ओके, सो दीज आर द सेल्स, थ्रेड्स ऑफ सेल्स. ये जो दिख रहे हो ये सेल्स है. दिस सेल्स आर कॉल्ड एज द हेपाटिक सेल्स. Okay, hepatic cells. So these are the hepatic cells. This is the artery, this is the vein, and this is the bile duct. Okay, so this is how the inner structure look like. This is called the central vein. This is the central vein. Okay, and there is a covering for it. So ये वाला covering है, covering for each and every I can say vesicle there is a covering, or hepatic lobule there is a covering. For each and every lobule there is covering, and there are multiple lobules inside the liver. Okay, and these cells are the hepatic cells. Now we are having another large image of this. ये वाला दिखो, इसका एक छोटा सा पार्ट यहाँ पे दिखाया गया हुआ है. ये वाला इतना हिस्सा को लेके यहाँ पे इसको एक्सपोज किया गया है. Okay, so this is the central vein. So here you are getting this the central vein, and look from the central vein what is there. This is the artery. This is the artery, means it will carry the oxygenated blood. This is the vein. Okay, means it will carry the deoxygenated blood. Okay, so look, oxygenated blood is entering. Okay, here it is entering, okay, and the cells are using the oxygen or the nutrients etc from this blood. Okay, cell will use, then after the use of this blood, means nutrients etc, it will finally drain into the central vein. Okay, blood etc will drain into the central vein. From the central vein there will be a backflow basically, and then the hepatic portal vein also actually collects. Okay, so central vein there is a separate drainage system is basically there. Okay, they both basically supply. This artery also supplies the blood. This artery supplies the blood. This veins also supplies the blood. Vein basically supplies. This is the look, portal vein. So portal vein basically supplies the blood from the intestine into back to the liver. ओके, सो इंटेस्टाइन में क्या होता है, फूड का एब्जॉर्प्शन होता है, और एब्जॉर्प्शन के बाद वो सारा एब्जॉर्ब कहाँ पे आ रहा है, लिवर पे आ रहा है डायरेक्टली. कौन लेके आता है, दिस पोर्टल वेन. ओके, सो ऑल द ब्लड फ्रॉम द artery, hepatic artery and the portal vein enters into the liver. From these the hepatic cell uses the oxygen, nutrients etc, and finally drain the blood into the central vein. This is the, you can say, the circulation within the hepatic lobule. Then look, there are two layers of cells. One is here, one layer, and by the side you are getting another layer. And between the layer you are getting what? There is a canaliculi called as the bile canaliculus. Okay, canaliculi means a very narrow passage, you can say. So between the two layers of cells you are getting a narrow passage. This passage is called as the bile canaliculus, and in this passage all these hepatic cells secretes the bile. Okay, so all the cells, yes, they produce basically very small amount of the bile, and then the secretion ultimately came into the canaliculus. Okay, then from the canaliculus the secretion actually flows, okay, into this way, and finally enter into this bile duct. Okay, so one bile duct will basically get small ductiles, okay, from numerous bile canaliculus, okay, and it will finally collect the bile from the whole liver. This bile duct, you are getting one bile duct here, okay, and within a single hepatic lobule you are getting multiple bile duct. See, here is one bile duct, another one is there, this is the third bile duct, fourth bile duct, like sixth or seventh bile duct is present within a single hepatic lobule. And how many lobules are there in the liver? There are thousands of lobules. Okay, so all these lobules, okay, there are bile duct in all the lobules, so all the bile ducts get connected, okay, and then they finally form the left and the right duct. Okay, see here, one duct is there and another duct is there. Okay, so they ultimately, all the duct, they form connection among, okay, and then ultimately they form the two common duct, and two common duct finally connects each other, and then finally they carries the whole bile into the gallbladder. Is it clear? Is it clear? The circulation clear? Have you any problem in this? Do you have any problem?
No, sir.
Okay, so this is called as the biliary system. I'm going to end it now. I'm going to end it now. Tomorrow we have no. Tomorrow we don't have any class. Tomorrow we don't have. Wednesday we are having class. So Wednesday we'll discuss further. So this is the means the where in the liver the bile actually forms, and then how the bile flows. Okay. So inside the liver there are hepatic lobule. Hepatic lobule contains what? The hepatic cells or hepatocytes. The hepatocytes, two layers of the hepatocytes are basically connected with the bile canaliculus, and they secrete the bile into the canaliculus. From the canaliculus, then the bile goes into the bile duct. Multiple bile ducts connects together, and then they form the common bile duct. Okay, two common bile duct came out from the liver, and they finally enters into the gallbladder. Okay, gallbladder is for the deposition of the bile. Okay, it collects the bile, and then when it is required, then the bile from the gallbladder enters into the small intestine and helps in the digestion of the food. Right? Okay, so this is the biliary system. Okay, we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, now give me attendance. Let's cut.